Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
Co-creating at its best, really. You're knowing what you're wanting?
Yes.
Really? You're enjoying the expansion of your desire? It feels good, doesn't it? Yes, really? Really? Have you ever been on vacation and you've been out on the road and you've been sort of free and in an attitude of discovery with no time commitments, just sort of free flowing? And you know that fresh feeling of the universe just yielding to you, fun stuff to see and fun things to feel? It's that fresh feeling that you can have all day, every day, once you start living this real time that we're talking about. So if someone says, did you get your new car? You could say and mean and smile and feel good as you say, no, I'm still dreaming about it. And then they'll go, oh. Oh. But you don't mean, oh. You mean, I'm still dreaming about it. Did you meet that perfect? Did you find your lover yet? No, I'm still dreaming about him. Oh. No, you don't understand. He doesn't have to be here this red hot minute. The idea of him has breathed life into me, the likes of which I cannot even begin to explain. Did you write your best-selling novel yet? No, I'm just dreaming about it. Oh. Haven't really gotten around to it yet. Oh, no. No, life is just showing me bits and pieces of it. I'm gathering it up. I can feel it formulating. I can feel the inspiration that's flowing through me. I've never felt so vivid or so alive. You move into your new house yet? No, I'm still dreaming about it. Oh, no. That dreaming about it is good. I'm in the vortex. I'm tuned in with the vibrational reality of it. It's breathing life into me. Oh, sure, it will manifest. But I've found, you can say to your friends, that the more that manifests, the more I have to ensure it. The more I have to move it from place to place, the more I have to clean it. In other words, you watch people, the more they gather, the less good they feel. The less they've got, the better they feel. We're not trying to talk you out of manifestations, friends. We're not. Manifestations are so wonderful, and there is nothing more spiritual than the manifestation of this spirit that you are. Nothing is more delicious than manifestation. But manifestation that comes from alignment is delicious. Manifestation that is dragging you around by the hair is not. And we think that in general, our human friends are hung up on the what isness of manifestations and depriving themselves of the freedom of the natural joy that comes from rendezvousing with the energy that is truly you. Now that's easy for us to explain to you because we don't have a physical body that we're dragging around. We don't have to bathe it or clothe it or feed it. We don't live in a house that we have to pay rent on or own or insure. In other words, we live in a state of beingness. But here's the big picture for you. So does the larger part of you. You are spirit. You are not thing. You are a being, not a doing. You are a being, not a having. You are a physical being who has the potential of aligning with the clarity and the adventure and the love and the sureness and the worthiness that is really you. And you can tell moment by moment whether you've caught a glimpse of it. And when you do, milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it. Until you say incessantly to those around you who say, well, what do you need? You say, I really don't need anything. There's nothing that I need. But I'm always on the quest for alignment. What does that mean? Well, it's sort of a long story, but what it basically means is I'm more than I see or that you see here in this physical body. And I can feel the wholeness of who I am through my emotions, and I'm always on the trail of that. Now, most people won't get it, but you do. You get it. And in fact, you've gotten it so good that you can't go back from it. We should have explained that at the beginning, that you now know too much. You now know too much. You can't go back. You know too much. You can't go back. You are source energy in physical bodies, and the way you feel is everything. Well, every subject is two subjects. So it's a matter of gradually, through practicing the end of it that feels better. And do you believe us at all? Do you believe that when you're experiencing sickness that you're asking for wellness and that the wellness is queued up?
Yes.
So what's hard to talk about that? In other words, we don't get why it's hard. When you could as easily talk about wellness as sickness, why not talk about wellness? You did a little bit. You said, I can accept that some good has come out of it, but do you really believe it? Do you really do you believe it? Do you believe here's a good way of putting it. Do you ever hear someone say, "Oh, I've been well for so long and there are a lot of sick people. So I think I'm going to be sick for a while to allow sick people to be weller"? You don't ever say that, do you? Because you don't think that there's this pile of wellness that you've been pigging out on and depriving others. And so that's one way of looking at this. And we want to convince you that, do you believe that you are a vibrational being? Mm-hmm. And do you believe that as a vibrational being that you can focus on wanted or unwanted?
Yes.
So what is this insatiable appetite, and it's not just yours, almost all humans have it, of wanting to explain what is? What is the big deal about what is? What's the big deal about what is? Is it, you know what it really is? I'm running around with a whole lot of other humans who have forgotten who they are, that don't remember about the vortex, who have trained themselves away from caring about how they feel, and we are, for the most part, just a big human complaining pity party. Those are the books that sell. You want to get a best-selling book, then dig yourself into a really deep hole and then crawl out, and they'll clap when you crawl out. We're just trying to get your attention a little bit here. We want to convince you that you don't have to tell the story about reality. You can tell the story about vibrational reality. But when you say it's hard, I can't do it, I don't know how to do it, that only means that's because you've practiced the reality story more than the vibrational reality story. Do you know anybody? Have you ever, and we won't tell, have you ever told a fib for so long that you forgot it was a fib? Do you know people who lie really easily? That's what we want from you. We want you to take a departure from reality and train yourself into the improved reality, into the wanted reality. We want you to train yourself. But so many of you have believed that you've got to tell it like it is. And so someone says, "How are you?" And you don't feel that good. And you feel like you should tell them, "Well, I really don't feel that good." And they didn't really care. They didn't really mean, "How are you?" They meant, "Hi." So just practice as best you can. And so the answer to your question is, how can you practice the better feeling when the reality isn't there yet? And we say, catch yourself at the best moments that you can find and emphasize that to yourself. And do it over and over again. Just find the best feeling moment that you can find and practice it from then. And it is our promise to you. It will get better and better and better and better and better. So now, speculate just for a little bit. Think about how, have you ever, let's find some simple ideas. Have you ever got an idea that you'd like to refurbish your house or buy new furniture? And do you remember that, how good it felt? Did you ever look through catalogs and kind of start forming an image of how you'd like it to look? And didn't it feel better than when you got into the throes of trying to gather it all up? Or pay for it? Or find someone who could coordinate it? In other words, isn't it easier to feel good in the envisioning stage? And what we want you to come along, and we can feel you starting to move with us. What we want you, if we could convince you that your life is about the way you feel, then it wouldn't matter to you if you're dreaming the new furniture or if you're placing it. If we've really convinced you that how you feel is where it's at. So movie makers just keep dreaming new movies. Authors just keep dreaming new books. Songwriters just keep writing new songs. The creative people never rest on their laurels. The happy creative people only stay happy and creative because they keep writing the next song. You see what we're getting at? They keep painting the next painting. Do you really think the world needs another painting? No, but painters want to paint. Sculptors want to sculpt. Songwriters want to write songs. Musicians want to make music. In other words, you're getting the hang of it, aren't you? In other words, you want to flow the energy. That's how you mold the clay. You want to flow the energy. You want to think the good feeling thoughts. You want to sing the good feeling songs. You want to think the good feeling thoughts. You want to think the good feeling thoughts. You want to think the good feeling thoughts. You don't want to think bad feeling thoughts. You want to think the good feeling thoughts. Now think about it. As we watch people building empires, as we watch relationships coming together, as we watch movements coming into being, do you know that far and away the majority of the movement happens before there is any physical stuff that even comes into being? In other words, as you dream your empire, as you dream your dream employees, as you dream your dream product, as you dream the world's response to it, as you dream that, it's all pure because there's no reality that's clashing with it. You got to dream it as you wanted to dream it. But when you start facing reality and reality clashes with the dream, that's when you lose your connection, and that's when your dream slows down. For example, because the laws of the universe are always working for you to show you this. There's not a shred of evidence anywhere in the universe to the contrary of what we're speaking here. So as you hear it and you begin watching for it, it will show itself to you over and over again till you'll feel your own true power. So let's say, have you ever had an experience, more prevalent with men than women, but it happens, where you are having a fist fight with someone. You've actually come to blows. But there was a point before you, or before someone, we'll say you, threw that first punch. There was a point where you could have held that punch back and it would have been better. Because your nose wouldn't have been broken. And you wouldn't now be in jail. In other words, there was a point where if you had used a little willpower, a little personal motivation, you could have pulled the punch back, and even though you were so mad you were spitting bullets, it would have been better because it got worse once the action happened from outside the vortex. You following? Mm-hmm. Have you ever been in the midst of an argument with someone where the more you spewed, the worse it got? It just got bigger and badder and bigger and badder and bigger and badder till it came to blows. Wasn't there a point where if you could have just held back, it would have been better? Aren't there things you have said that you just wish you hadn't said? But once you've crossed that sensitive line, it's crossed. In other words, you can't really take that perspective back. So in the same way that you could pull back your fists, or you could pull back those venomous words, you can also pull back those thoughts, because the thoughts lead to the words and the words lead to the behavior. In other words, it's all part of the expansion process, because as we've been saying to you for years, if you've got negative emotion and you don't know what it means and you don't do something about diluting it and replacing it with better feelings, don't worry, it will get bigger. Because law of attraction insists that it will. And if you still don't do something about it, it will get bigger. And if you still don't do something about it, it will get bigger. Law of attraction insists that it will. And the thing that's so interesting, and this is what we so want you to hear, leading edge creators out here on the leading edge, hearing things for the first time today ever, as that whirlwind, as that vortex of what you don't want gets bigger, as that problem gets bigger, so does the solution. And it is the relationship between the problem getting bigger and the solution that gets bigger that equals the strain within you. In other words, we so want you to hear that, and you said something similar to that to us when you sat down. If the problem didn't get this big, then the solution wouldn't be this big. So the question really is, how big a price am I willing to pay for my solutions? And we want to say to you, we think you're done. In other words, you've got enough in this vortex to keep you busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. We really don't think that there is any virtue in suffering into this expansion. In other words, that you will all